Today I'm going to be talking about a composition that you will not see very often, but can be strong. However, I want to make sure there's the disclaimer right at the beginning here. Do not build it. Trust me, it is very lackluster because it has to do with one specific hero that people should really not build on their account, Berial. It's a very much niche Hypogean hero, and the fact that he's really squishy, and I mean really squishy, can die very easily, is kind of a big issue. We have yet to get to Supreme Plus, which, you know, it is what it is. He can revive, which is kind of a cool strategy he has. He's really good when the enemies are spread far apart, and that doesn't happen very often besides in certain game modes, like in the campaign, the AFK battles and stuff. But I'm going to show you guys something that is a big issue with this team, and that's the fact that it is ridiculously squishy. And I mean ridiculously. Even running the full zoo team pretty much, you can of course substitute Coco out for someone like Damien, but a lot of times what I have to end up doing now is running the Cascade spell to try to get Coco as fast of an ultimate as possible, because as you see, the enemy is going to probably try shredding through us, but you'll notice all these little ghosts above the head. That is what Berial is doing, preventing them from potentially getting as much energy and stuff. And it creates these little shadows, and you can see how many enemies are allies, I should say, are on the battlefield, because he creates this like ghostly vision of that hero. Now you notice Berial did go down, and he's not going to revive unless we actually get a kill. And the biggest issue here on this wave that we're dealing with is the enemy team is so tanky. It is ridiculous. So sometimes even getting a team like this to work will not work properly. So honestly, a lot of times I like running evocation spell, throwing Damien in there, because you have to remember Damien is going to be getting those shields from a Mythic Plus Florabelle as well. You can see that little cart in the back getting the shield up there, and even with all these minions on the battlefield, the survivability of our team still seems lacking at times. Our damage output isn't quite good enough, and you notice we are losing some heroes here as the enemies work around the Thorin, and we do slowly die off. But I will say this is one of the better scenarios for Berial to be in, is when the enemies are spread apart, which again typically has a big impact in AFK stages. I will say the one place that I am very much enjoying him is Supreme Arena, but that's not open all the time, and the rewards aren't great. You can see the damage kind of across the board. The enemy walker, of course, enemy walkers would be absolutely ridiculous busted, but not our own. So understanding this hero a little bit more can help you out. Of course, the fact that he goes underground into shadows is one of the coolest things possible. He hides in shadows, becomes invincible while hidden, and if there are isolated enemies on the battlefield, Berial will move to each isolated target in turn, dealing damage to each target. Otherwise, he will stay in the shadow and recover HP. So it's both a damage and healing ability. When he does hide within a shadow for 10 seconds, he does it, when he does it after he is dead, so when he dies, he has 10 seconds essentially for you to get a kill, for him to revive. When he gets a Supreme Plus, I think it increases another 10 seconds, which means it's a lot easier to get him to revive, because you know how fast combat can go. And he reduces the damage dealt by isolated enemies by 10% and increase their damage taken by 5. So you can see, even in that scenario that we were just in, we were actually lowering all the enemies' damage by 10%, which is crazy. And then, yeah, if you get Mythic Plus on him, which before Mythic Plus, he's not really as useful, but when he does, if non-summon enemies are isolated for over 3 seconds, this is where they lose energy, and they make this silhouette creature, this shadowy feature that does go against them. For the season upgrade, you know, casting the ultimate deals damage to the current target and each of the 4 next cast and normal attacks. This really revolves around Florabelle, though. In reality, the protective blessing is what really makes this team work the most, and that's because of the shield that she can provide to those summons can be really big. Now, I did say Supreme Arena is one of the best places for it. I actually wonder if I can show you any of my battles with them. Actually, yeah, this is the perfect one right here. I can show you a couple of our past battles in Supreme where we actually have our teams up the top. We're actually the red team for once. And you'll notice a lot of these enemies do get isolated, and they do create those little silhouettes around them. You can see 2 of them pop up right here in the middle of the screen. And you can just see how many enemies there are. So if you're going up against auto battle things like Alsa, going up against auto battle things like Odie, like we talked about earlier today, they're going to have all their time in the world that they have to attack these summons, but we don't care because we're just going to continue to summon even more of them. And you can see how that actually turned out. I can see if we had another victory in here somewhere with this team as well. We did. Cool. Let's check this one out as well, because this is really where it shines the most. Getting those additional little silhouettes really does flood the map with tons of units. And beyond that, he is dead right now. I think he does get revived in this one. I think Rowan goes down. Oh, I can't remember actually. Yeah, he did pop up. We killed somebody, which is the important part. So he gets his immediate damage in, which is a little bursty, and then eventually he does revive, and he continues to kind of wreak havoc on the battlefield. So it really depends on who and what teams you're going up against here too, because it doesn't always get the win. But you can see the damage output on him is actually surprisingly good. And again, the more separated out these enemies are, the better, because we're going to have more damaging abilities. They're going to do less damage. They're going to take more damage. And we're also going to create those silhouettes. You can see right here on the right side, we have a silhouetted Merrily fighting the regular Merrily. So it's just really, really good hit there. And it's pretty awesome. I like the composition. However, I still wish I would have built a DNL or a Scarlita over him. I think overall, out of the current heroes that we have right now, he's kind of one of the lesser necessary, or even I'd borderline say not worth building, like really at all. And beyond that, if you don't have him at Mythic Plus, he's much, much worse, because you're not getting those silhouettes, and those silhouettes are the whole reason why he is in the zoo comp to start with. So you can see it's so hard to even tell what's going on in the battlefield when he's involved too, because you're getting even more summons on the battlefield. And in this team too, I'm using Damien, so we have his chariot, we have those planes flying over getting all the stuns, and that's kind of what we are looking at here. So that is the zoo comp right here. This is usually what we run even in Supreme Arena. A lot of times we do without the tank and we run like Damien, and then of course this unit here can be a bunch of different combos. Like the main 3 are these 3 here. I like slotting in potentially a tank. I like putting Damien in the team. And then the other potentials you can do is you can run heroes like Coco, so that she can actually provide more shields and damage reduction for your team. You could run someone like Haywen, because again, when she has her Mythic Plus, she does damage reduction to your allies as well. And the other one I like running on this team as well occasionally is Rowan, just to simply feed more energy with his ultimate. So let me know what you guys think. I figured I'd let you guys see what the zoo composition looks like, but I will say go for Reinier. Reinier's the number one. Go for him. Once you get him to Mythic Plus, Scarlita is probably the next best bet. You could always go DNL in the future and stuff like that, but that is the composition. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. A hero you might see often on our account, but should not build yourself. And I'll see you guys next time.